step, something in my jeans. FOI, you know that's the team, huh?
Peace. This is your brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Peace. This is brother Aidan X, and welcome to the processing class. Today I got a very, very special guest. I got brother Mark Muhammad Jr. Salam alaikum. Peace be upon you, brother.
Walaikum salam, dear brother.
Yes, sir. The first question I'd like to ask you is, how did you get the teachings? Were you born in the Nation of Islam, or did you get the teachings some other way, or was you exposed to it some other way?
I happened to, my father was registered. I wasn't technically, actually born into the nation, but you can pretty much say I was. I was 5 when he joined. And, I was just around it, just growing up. I grew up in 2 different states, in Massachusetts and also in Kentucky. So, I'll get a little bit of that and get a little bit of the other world somewhere else. And you know what I'm saying? So that's how I got introduced to it. That's how I knew about it at a very young age. But as far as my formal introduction to it, that happened around age 20 or at age 20.
Yes, sir. And were you raised kind of strict? Because we have a lot of people that have parents that's, registered and that know the teachings, and the children may be raised a certain way. The children may be raised strict. Were you raised strict? Was there restrictions growing up due to your father knowing the teachings?
No, sir. My father, he was one of those ones. He knew the teachings, and was involved with it, but he gave me free range of, he also understood having fun at a young age and what comes with that, the lifestyle and all that stuff. Well, not really the lifestyle, but just everything that's around and what normally pops up. So every now and then he'll just drop some seeds on me, and things like that. But like I said, I didn't live with my father. I didn't live with him until I was 15 years old. And before that, I was with my mother. Now, my mother was the strict one. She came with all that army stuff, military, all that crap. I'm just like, man, I need to get up out of here. So that's what happened with that. But no, sir, my father was never strict on anything.
Yes, sir. And so what made you want to register at 20? People watching this, man, they said that's such a young age. So what made you want to register at 20 and take on that challenge?
I was actually 21. I just happened I took that step to stay committed to listening first when I was 20. After I first, growing, I'll just tell you the whole story. Growing up, I would always, like, how you would envision on yourself, like how you would want to be when you get older. So on the East Coast, man, they real articulate with their words and stuff like that, and are very, very passionate. We call that aggressive and things like that. So growing up, that was just the idea of how to be. So when I envisioned myself, I always said I wanted to be, speak very, very articulate, be able to use my mind to develop myself and be correct at all times. I just wanted to be real, real smart and intelligent, and have that real strong posture and look and things like that. So, multiple years went by. Then when I saw the minister teach, I said to myself, that's exactly how I always visioned myself to be like. And mind you, I never listened to the minister at all. Like, my father was in the nation, but I wasn't dealing with that. I was into other things. So when I saw that, I said, okay, if I can stick to this course, eventually I will become the way I always wanted to be, posture wise. And at the same time, honestly believe with these teachings, if they're explained properly and understood properly and applied at the right time, we could save the whole humanity of the world. And that's the reason why I decided to join on. I wanted to be a part of that mission and help deliver us out of the bondage that we've been in.
Yes, sir. And You just said earlier, you said you wasn't involved in with the nation growing up. You was into other things. What were those other things that you was involved with? Because some brothers come from crime, some brothers just come from straight foolishness, before the teachings. So what was those other things that you was involved with before you accepted that the teachings?
Man, brother, it was just two things: money and women. It ain't nothing. It ain't nothing like crazy, but that was just it. Because that's just what I saw a lot. When I seen I was in gangs and stuff like that. I was involved with that. Um, I was selling weed at 13 years old in middle school. Then I dove into the crack field a little bit. That stealing things like that, misusing, mentally abusing women by playing games and lying and all that stuff. That's another form of abuse, not being honest. Just going through that. But I always knew, even at that time, because like I said, I had that thought in my mind, like I know I'm just doing this because everybody else doing it. But I know for a fact I can most definitely do some other things. And I believed in myself always. So when the opportunity came, I just took advantage of it.
Yes, sir. And you say you was into money and women and even some of the drug dealing and the gang related things. What made you want to stop it? Because some people see it, they don't see nothing wrong with it. I'm having fun. I'm being young. I'm enjoying myself, and I'm making, I'm making money. So what made you want to stop? And what would you tell other people watching this that may be involved in the same thing and they don't see no reason to stop?
Yes, sir. Yeah. I wanted to, because hell, people was dying.
Mm-hmm.
And I was in the midst of that, not causing it, but I'm like, it's people who I knew, like, dang, like you 14, 15 years old and you dead. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, oh man, like if I keep going this direction, it can possibly happen to me too. And my father always told me, you either gonna end up or you're gonna end up dead or in jail. So when I ended up in jail at 14, I'm sitting there like, damn, it was one or the other, and I got this one this time. You know what I'm saying? Next
Yeah.
time, ain't no telling what it's gonna be. And I sat there and said, I'm not even gonna lie to you. On New Year's of 2005, 2006, that New Year, man, I got arrested. Was in the wherever it's at, was locked up. And I remember I was sitting there. It was nothing in there, but it was a tiny little room. I mean, this room was tiny. It was like a 4-foot bench that you sit on and a toilet. And I looked at the toilet. It had, urine stains on it. And I sat down. And the first thing that popped in my mind, I said to myself, damn, this nigga was right. So, I was just like, yo, I got to get up out this, man. Like, and we wasn't poor, not like that. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just did it because I knew I could. And, I was into money. That was my thing. And I'll tell you a story about that later on. Um, but yeah, man, that started happening, man. Like in one of the gangs I was in at 14, I was 15, he was 14, man. He died. He got killed. Probably like 5 houses down from where I lived at. So I was like, whoa, like that was a shocker right there. Then I always had a deep passion for I always believed in like no sex before marriage. Always believed that before the teachings. And the reason why, I just felt like that was always the right thing to do. However, circumstances altered that way of thinking. So as I got older and mature, I started to like feel bad for like certain actions, certain things I've said, certain languages that I use. That once I became, and I just didn't know how to um, really express myself the proper way. But once I got involved with the teachings and seen the example, then the example was also on paper. I sat there and said, okay, maybe I should go ahead and implement this as well. And there was a few women, years later, I went back and apologized. Um, and just, just told them that, I apologize for my actions at that time. This is 4 or 5 years later. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And I'm just going back and saying that. One of them just bust out in tears. I was just like, whoa, like I ain't know it was like that. And but yes, sir. So that's just what it was, though, brother. A few realistic things, then a few spiritual things came afterwards, and that made me fully convert my way of thinking.
Yes, sir. Uh, and you were just diving in, talking about, your experiences with women in the past. But, Islam has a reputation of abusing women. Islam has a reputation of mistreating and oppressing women. So did the nation, being in the Nation of Islam, did it teach you to mistreat or oppress or abuse women?
No, sir. Absolutely not. Not once, not twice, not thrice. It never happened. It actually said that you should die for women, especially yours, and protect her at all times, whether it's mentally, physically, and also emotionally as well. So once I really heard it, I'm gonna just say this: I'm one of those ones that I heard it once, and that's all I needed to hear. I was a believer right after that. Like during the session, I was a believer right there. You know what I'm saying? I just had a transition physically, um, and mentally as well. So once I heard that once, I said, okay, that's I was already thinking that. You know what I'm saying? And was actually living a portion of that as well. So yeah, to answer your question, absolutely not. No, the Nation of Islam and Islam in general never teaches to abuse women. Though that's for those who are the uncivilized kind, and they use scripture and religion and maybe money and influence to try and dominate a woman for her pleasures.
Mm,
And of course, that would backfire on them. That would backfire on them in the end once that woman rises into consciousness.
yes, sir. And you said once you heard it, you believed it. Is there a particular lecture, a particular book, or anything that made you say, okay, yeah, I want to roll with the teachings?
It was that lecture called "Go in Hand: The Truth About Pork."
Hmm.
That was the first one. I already didn't eat pork though, you know. But once like I said, once I've been a fan of well, let me tell you this. Growing up in Massachusetts, it was a city outside of Boston called Brockton, Massachusetts. Their schooling system is very strict. The teachers are very articulate, very strict and stuff like that. And my mother was strict as well in the same way. So I already came from when someone teaches and they explain everything fully from beginning to end. I already came from that. So when I seen the brothers in the mosque start teaching, that's what I was already attracted to, was that form. So when it was explained and highly detailed and points was proven at that particular moment with no, like, you didn't have to pause and go call nobody and ask your homie and stuff. You know how we do. We gotta go get verification and all that. Man, he had the facts right there in front of you and eliminated all of the excuses as time went on. Once I seen that, and it was already something I was already thinking, I just needed confirmation on some of those things. And all that was provided within an hour and 30 minutes. I sat there and said, okay. I said, Pops, I said, Dad, they do this every single week? He said, yeah, every week it's like this. I said, okay, I'm coming back. And
Mm,
since I think it was January 18th, 2012, been going ever since.
praise be to Allah. And you just said, how they explained it and how they taught. Some young brothers may watch this and say, man, what's the point of being taught, man? I don't need to be taught. Learning and educating myself is boring.
Mm-hmm.
It's actually acting white.
Mm-hmm.
Some people may say it's acting white to be reading, to be learning, and to be watching lectures and educating yourself. What would you say to people that have that type of mindset, towards learning and educating themselves? And that's probably stopping them from even wanting to be interested in the nation.
Mm-hmm. Well, first thing I would say is look where white people are at right now. Then go back in time, look where they were at 100 years ago, then 200. They was always on top because they knew more than the people who was underneath them. So self-education is most definitely the way out and also the way in. See, a lot of people don't know that. Also, I would sit there and tell them that you think that now because that's how it was presented to you. Just like how the minister said that there's nothing wrong with Islam. It's just all about how you present it to somebody, which makes it look ugly. So there's nothing wrong with self-education. The way it was presented to you made it look ugly, made it look boring, made it look not satisfying, made it look like it's a waste of time. So that individual or those individuals who think like that, go back and ask the person who presented to you like that and see how they living, see how they doing, see how they thinking. Then that's the reason why they came to you like that. They wanted you to reflect them instead of them reflecting their own selves in their own mirror. They try to put a dumb nigga in the side of another dumb nigga. And it might have worked for a little while, but like I said earlier, once you rise into consciousness, you're not gonna think like that no more.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And you just going back to, on that point, just going back to the food, because you said, your first lecture was about pork. And I'm looking at your Instagram right now. You have a lot of videos talking about health and talking about food. What's the benefit of that in my life? Because some people may watch this and say, man, we all gonna die anyways, man. Might as well eat what the hell I can. Mm-hmm. So what's the benefits of improving your health? If I give up the pork, if I give up, what I'm saying, the fried chicken every day, the pork chops, the ribs, and if I give all these things up, what is it gonna do for me when we all just gonna die anyways, as some people watching this may say?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, sir. Everything that's alive now currently has a death date. The foods you eat, the car you drive, eventually is going to give out. Even the house you live in, eventually is going to get old and it's going to get knocked down. Even the daylight goes into rest, to a resting state. We call that shadow, the shadow of the earth or nighttime. Stars die. People die, but between our birthday and our death date, the benefits of eating the proper and correct way is to enjoy that time period fully while we're still alive. People be thinking, I used to work for the city as a garbage man at 18. Everybody in there was 40 years old and up and older, around that. And they will always complain. My back hurt, my feet hurt, my neck hurt, my hands hurt. They're saying that they got it from the job. And I'm looking at them, I'm like, how? I'm working the same job as you. You know what I'm saying? Then after work, I will go home and work out. Then when I didn't do that, then my body began to start aching and stuff. When I used to drink water at that time every single day. Then I started getting like Fruitopia, Nestea drinks, eating Snickers and them little chicken sandwiches and stuff like that. Then my body began to ache. My back was hurting, my hands, you know what I'm saying? Then it just dawned on me, this is before the NOI. Then it just dawned on me that the way that I eat and what I drink and also what I think causes all my illnesses. So the true benefit of eating foods and at the right foods at the right time is to sustain your life fully and give you an additional amount of years throughout your lifespan. And also you can enjoy that life as well, fully, with no type of, if I wake up today, my heart might stop, and you don't have no scares or nothing like that. So that's just a short but long answer to your question, brother.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's good. You have this one video on your Instagram. It says eating 1 meal a day and fasting can cure all disease. Man, what would you say, man? Some people may hear that and say, man, this nigga's crazy. Eating 1 meal a day and fasting. Yes, how is eating 1 meal a day and fasting the cure to all disease? When we're taught in school, I remember being taught in school that 3 meals a day is what keeps you here. That 3 meals a day is how you get your full nutrients, your full vitamin count. your full protein, especially. So
Mm.
how the hell is eating 1 meal a day and fasting the cure to all disease?
Yes, sir. Well, the one thing that they also didn't teach us, unless they did, we didn't pay attention, is that our bodies only take in a certain amount of nutrients and minerals per day. So there's no need to eat 3 or 4 times. When you do the math, um, in the digestive system, that inside when you eat your 1 meal inside your stomach, it's in there for 3 to 5 hours, whatever that meal is. Then it goes into the small intestines, which is 8 to 11 hours. Then it goes into the large intestines, which is 12 to 18 hours, then eventually in the stool. But whenever you take up the minimum time, 3, 8, and 11, you add that up. Excuse me, was that 8? 3, 8? No, 3, 8, and 12. 3, 8, and 12, and you add that up, it equals 23 hours. And we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that there's 23 hours, 56 minutes, and 46 seconds in a day. So in truth, to digest one meal, one nutritious meal that your body needs and will need for that day, it will take a full 24 hours for that to go through that whole entire cycle, then for it to be complete the following day at the same time. So when you overdo it, you will back up that process and back up your digestive system, which will ultimately lead to more sickness. It will lead to diabetes, rheumatism, arthritis by overworking the body and causing more stress above its natural level. Because if you look up the definition of the word stress, it means something that you're obligated or bonded to. Your digestive system is obligated and has a duty to fulfill that process. So when you keep constantly eating 3 and 4 and 5 times a day, it's going to keep on working and running because that's what it's obligated to do. So what's going to happen, you'll get sick, you'll get more sick, you'll cut the years off your life by overworking yourself. And then your large intestine, which can stretch out to over 20 feet. Now you got the Dunlap disease. Is when you're skinny on your arms, skinny on your legs, skinny head, but you got a big old belly that done lapped over your belt and everything else down there. You know, so so you can keep going that direction as well. Then of course, the white man now has finally admitted that fasting rejuvenates the immune system. But the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, inside of his books, How to Eat to Live, has already stated that you can rejuvenate your cells and your immune system almost back to 100% by just fasting 1 to 3 days a month. So that's why we fast every month, to keep our body fresh, activated, and we can go ahead and go about our days, just like our brother Kyrie Irving.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. You also just continue on the health tip. You have a lot of videos talking about, checking what's in your food, man. You even got videos checking what's in your toothpaste. A lot of people that's watching this, they may be thinking, man, what's the point of checking what's in my food, man? I just pick up whatever's cheap. So what is the benefit of checking what's in your toothpaste? You talk about the fluoride, the juice, the breads. What's the purpose of checking the ingredients and checking what's inside the food for people watching this?
Yes, sir. Well, the Honorable Minister Farrakhan said he said that if you don't know the science of food or the science of what you're eating, don't eat it. If you don't understand the ingredients that's inside of those things, why would you put it into your body? If you look on the back of those, I got one on there about bread. At one point in time, they put an ingredient inside of there called elastine. Have you ever heard of that?
No, sir.
That's, and when you look up what that is, that's Chinese human hair.
Mm.
That they get from the barbershops. And it's an ingredient inside of wheat bread.
Mm.
So over a period of time, we'll eat hair, animal hair, sometimes animal feces, abortion fetus cells.
Mm.
What's the other ones? And those are just a few off the top of my head that they put inside those things and we put inside of our body. Now, if you understand basic science, the law of cause and effect is always in motion. So when you go to a root of an effect that you may feel right now, you will see the cause of it is the ingredients inside of the food. But the white man's so crafty and so devilish that he'll have you thinking that it's just the food or that particular food. But what's underneath that is the true cause of to every single effect. So, it's nothing wrong with just checking. We're not going to know all that stuff that's on there unless we just do a thorough investigation. But anything that has over like 12 ingredients, me personally, I just stay away from it. Be seeing things with 40, 50 ingredients. I'm like, oh, this just to make a little cookie? You know what I'm saying?
What about the toothpaste? Because you go into that in one of your videos too. Why should I care about my toothpaste?
Well, the toothpaste is loaded with fluoride. Not all of them, but the main brand ones, the big name ones, loaded with fluoride. They don't put a lot in there, but we brush our teeth a lot. So eventually it adds up. And the fluoride is, Hitler used that to docile the Jews during his ruling. And of course, docile means to make your mind easier to control and, things like that. And also, the fluoride is equivalent to rat poison, according to the, I think it's called the Environment Protection Agency. I think that's what I said in that video. That's what what they use to kill off rats. The main ingredient is fluoride. So just once again, you put all that back in your body, and whenever it enters into your mouth, the first place that it goes to is either inside your blood or it shoots directly to the brain, depending on what it is. So if fluoride is made to make you more docile, and which is straight control over the brain, when it's inside the toothpaste, it goes into your mouth 3 times a day. What do you think that they're trying to do? They're trying to set you up early in the morning, in the middle of the day, and at night to have control on you for that day and the following days throughout the year.
Yes, sir. And just us talking and just people hearing a lot of lectures from the Nation of Islam and FOI and MGT, they may hear, well, the only thing that the media shows is us talking about white people and, talking about things that white people have done. Now, some people watching this may say, okay, you brothers talk a lot about the white man, but you got niggas killing each other. You got the black on black crime. So what would you say to people that say, why are we talking about the white man when black people are killing each other more than white people do?
I'm sorry, ask me that again. You kind of cut it out.
Oh, my bad. It's what would you say to people that say, okay, y'all be talking about the white man, but you got, black people killing black people. You got niggas killing niggas. So why y'all talking about the white man when black people are more savage than white people? Some people may think.
Well, technically they're not. If you want to be all the way technical with it, we're around black people majority of the time. So of course we're gonna see or hear about blacks killing blacks. But did you know that white people kill white people 85% of the time? A lot of people don't know that. So did you know that Caucasians are number 1 in crime in America? In every category, except for murder. It's kind of we tied with that. So that is only designed to make us look bad, because at the same time with those murders, we got the same amount of people graduating college with master's degree. Then if you look at the track record over the past 20 years, black on black crimes have decreased every single year since the Million Man March in 1995. At one point in time, it was 10,000 deaths a year, and I think in 1989. 88, 89 with the crack epidemic and a few other things. So we have to teach you the origin of reckless killing, savage behavior, so you can understand where that came from.
Mm.
So yes, we had to pull up at that time slavery, Jim Crow, the civil rights movement, and just to let you know and show you and tell you, look at this behavior. If it's true that the Caucasian is the devil from a scientific standpoint and from a behavior standpoint, and you act just like how they do and become senseless in killing your own people, it shows two things. It shows that you became a savage yourself, and it also shows that you hate yourself and those who look similar to you, because you're not going to rise up and go kill no white man like that, even if he disrespects you and your woman.
Mm-hmm.
Even if he could break in your house right now, excuse me. He can break in your house right now. A lot of times, if let's say he went on and just killed them, man, we would be scared to death that we killed the white man. I'm just keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna be thinking about the laws and all that, and that's because they installed fear in us. That if you go kill one of ours, we're gonna find a way to jail you, or back in the day, we're gonna come to your house, knock on your door, and drag you outside and take you down by the river. So it's been made easier for us to kill one another based off how it was presented to us from the past all the way up until now. From slavery all the way up until now. From Jim Crow to civil rights, always up until now. The value of the black man was never taught to us in the home and in the school. And that's really where it starts at, really in the home. So when we come out underneath all of that, it makes it very easy for us to take out one another who looks like us versus someone else who doesn't. And that's really the root of everything. Really, just uneducation. I mean, not having self-education, self-value, and self-love.
Yes, sir. And like you just said earlier, and this is in the teachings. They said a white man is the devil. Some people hearing that, man, hide under their bed, man. Mm-hmm. Hearing that. So in your humble judgment, when you heard that, what made you not say, man, I can't be a part of this? This is hate. And did the Nation of Islam teach you to hate white people?
Well, no, sir. The Nation of Islam just taught us to not hate white people, but, hate the things that they do and have done. That does not cause us to rise up, that causes us to go down. So, when I heard the minister say that the white man was the devil, no, I didn't believe it from a behavioral sense. At that time, reason why was because, I just grew up around whites. My mother married a Caucasian, so he wasn't no devil, not from a behavioral sense. No, he was actually a very good person. When I was from age 2 up until age 15, I had a white stepfather, or a white father, we'll just say that. And I learned a lot from him and things like that. So I knew it was deeper than just from the behavioral sense. That's why I said in the previous question, from a scientific point of view, yes, all Caucasians are in fact devil from a scientific standpoint, from a genetic makeup standpoint, but from a behavioral sense, anybody can fit that description. So once I heard that subject, like I said, I knew it was deeper than that. And I just wanted it to be explained to me. Mind you, I was already a believer. So whatever he said, I was with it. So, I just needed for it to be explained to me.
Yes, sir. And some people watching this, they say, how is that not hate? And does that mean that we should kill all white people? Does that mean we should disrespect all white people since they're devils? And like you just said, can you go into depth of, how can we be devils too, as Black people?
Oh, absolutely. All words are like that, and other words are just titles. So your actions have to reflect that title in order for that title to be attached to you. So from a behavioral point of view, anybody can be a devil. Devil just means one who's opposing God's will or one with evil doings. So if you got your actions lined up with that definition, then you are in fact, a devil, whether you want to accept it or not. When you go further into it, then you will turn from devil also into a Satan as well. Um, of course, we're taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that anything that's grafted from original is in fact devil. So when you take the Black man, and of course, we was always taught that there was two life germs, the brown germ and the black germ, and the scientist Yakub took one of the germs and stripped it down to its lowest form, which was a white germ. If you want to know, that's what's it's in the body. It's called an OCA. That's the abbreviation for it. The germ that he took was called an OCA germ, and he reduced it to the OCA3 or OCA4 germ, which is what the Caucasian is. And of course, that in fact made that individual other than what the original germ was, because that was the final stage. That was as low as it can go. So that's how the Caucasian came about from a scientific point of view. And if you go look up particular fruits, particular vegetables, particular animals from a scientific point of view, they're considered devil plants, devil foods, a devil animal, and things like that. So that's the main difference that people should really just hone in on, so they can have a true understanding.
Yes, sir. Man, we just talked about the white man. How about we go into talking about the Black man? We hear in the teachings, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, every time you're looking at a Black man, you're looking at God. How the hell can a Black man be God? How can man, period, be God? Especially how we see man today, killing, stealing, pretty much reduced in value. So how the hell can, especially a nigga, some people watching this may say, how the hell can a nigga be a God?
Well, that's the way God set it up, was for this vessel that we have to be the vessel of God, where he can fully express the intellect that God has. So the way that we are now, we've been reduced over a period of time. However, if you happen to see a dog in the middle of the street and it's laid out, it got hit by a car and it's dead, and you look at it, you say, that's a dead dog. Yeah, it's a dead dog, but it's still a dog. If you look at us, you may say whatever adjective that you want to use to describe whatever type of person that they're functioning under right now. At the end of all of that, you may say that they're a dead person, they're a stripper, they're no good this, no good that, whatever the case is. Yeah, they just a dead God right now. They're not functioning at the highest region of their brain. They're functioning at the lowest region from a dead level. So whenever you decide to self-educate, or may even take on a teacher who can educate you properly, get you on the road, you will start to see the difference between a dead level and a living level. And naturally, the God in you will start to rise up, and you'll start to feel better, think better, do better, become better. And it will just happen over a period of time. It will really happen overnight. If you truly accept it at that moment, you can stop all this madness overnight.
Yes, sir. And we hear the brothers talk a lot about knowledge of self, and the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan speaks a lot about knowledge of self and re-educating the Black men and women. For those watching this and may have never seen a lecture, may have never read Message of Black Men or any book, what is the knowledge of self that the Black man and woman needs? Who is the Black man and woman as taught by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan?
Yes, sir. Well, you know, the knowledge of self is in fact the knowledge of God. And God is you, is me, and God dwells in all of us. However, there's always just one that's just supreme. Like the Holy Quran says that it says that, you know, my thoughts are from above while yours are from below. There's one that's always supreme overall. Now, as far as getting on a higher level of thinking, maybe not the supreme level, but going up to, you know, a few levels, maybe like the level of an angel or so. You know, you have to self-educate yourself and develop yourself, then stand on that level as far as like with nutrition and, you know, live the lifestyle and stuff like that. Therefore, you would receive the true benefit of it. The knowledge of self that the Honorable Elijah Muhammad teaches day in, day out is, of course, the knowledge of God, but then you also have the love of God, the love of self, the love for your family. And we all know now that love is an action word. So it's not just what you think, it's also what you do as well to keep what we say, preach, and what we think alive in this world. And what happened was that way of thinking and the way of doing, all that was never taught and preached. So there's no way that we can live it. So God was easily taken out of the equation and we took it on a different title.
Yes, sir. What would you say to people watching this and say, man, I ain't a God, I'm a real nigga. You know, I ain't a God, I'm a bad beat.
Well, you know, you can be that if you want to. Let me know how that gets you. Being a real nigga is expensive. You gotta get the latest shoes. You gotta get you a you know, a watch. That's $300. Don't let that watch break. And you gotta get you a couple of change. You gotta get you some outfits, some clothes. You know what I'm saying? That you gotta keep doing that. Oh man, that stuff get expensive, bro. Just keeping it 100. Then on top of that, you dumb doing it too. You know what I'm saying? But to give you more of a straightforward answer, that's just the language that we talk today. That's just what's, you know, the slang meaning of it is that we're just an authentic individual in that lane that we're currently in. But at the same time, even what's above that and underneath that is a man who has the capabilities and the abilities to be a God, a young God among men. You just been made that by circumstances and horrible influences throughout your whole entire life to take on a title like that. And it also shows that when it comes to the true understanding of the word nigga, negro, or nigger, it means dead. So you're saying, yeah, I'm real dead right now. And to the sisters, you know, same thing. That's just how they've been introduced and classified as a top-notch woman. We would think, well, they think that when you say that that's what you are, it means you're solidified. It's like a badge of honor when they call themselves, I'm a bad bee. Like it's like a level of status symbol, but it only means something in America. Ain't that something? The home of all the filth. So it's a combination of no self-love. Because if you had self-love, you would identify yourself properly. That horrible influence, miseducation and direction, and even in the midst of all of that is a virtuous woman. It's hidden underneath the debris, the way that person thinks is hidden underneath that is a virtuous, God-loving woman. and a young God with the potential of being a next level God as well.
Yes, sir. And I only got one more question after this. I don't want to hold you too much. We see the brothers disciplined, and we see them participating in studying. What's the importance of studying? I know me, I was an all left student in school, and man, I didn't want to study no books. I definitely didn't want to read or educate myself because of how it was, like you said, presented. So what is the importance of studying and reading? How is this going to better my life? And, I'm young, I'm trying to have fun. So how am I going to enjoy myself also with studying?
Yes, sir. Well, once again, the way studying is presented to us, it looks boring. But when you study is the preparation of the direction that you want to go in. So if you are alive and moving and have desires and dreams, you're going to study the path of that desire in that dream so you can reach the end of that goal successfully. And for those who don't study, they typically go wherever the wind blows them. They typically end up in a location that they really don't want to be in. They typically end up involved in places that they just don't want to be a part of. That's normally how it goes. However, the studied individual, the one who has studied and applied what they learned at the right time, will always go further in life because that one truly has more desires. Now, as far as with studying being boring or how do we make it more fun? Well, that's really based off that individual, really. Sometimes even with myself though, brother, I gotta force myself to study because I've been taught my interest growing up wasn't that strong in it, but I wanted the benefit of it so much. Studying in groups always work. Doing crafts, which is for really children, crafts and different types of events, flashcards, all that stuff. It helps out. So yeah, just enjoy it, man, and just make the best out of it.
Yes, sir. And this is the last question. What
Okay.
would you say to people that are maybe thinking about registering into the nation or even just studying it? What would you tell, young Black men and women watching this that they may be caught up in that same lifestyle that you were caught up before? What would be your advice to them?
Oh, well, brother, what I would really say is that for those who are already kind of involved, just be very, very careful about who you express your involvement with. Because for some reason, whenever you tell people that you involved with Islam, out of nowhere, they just become an expert on Islam. You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, keep it classified, keep it to yourself, and just talk to believers. Talk to people who are involved and someone who you can trust and be open with. And I'm just telling you all what I did. That's what I did. Because as soon as you mention it, the Nation of Islam, you don't want somebody to question you about something that you can't really explain or defend. Like topics like about Malcolm X. Some people say Dr. Khalid. Some people say like domestic affairs, things like that, or not really affairs, but you know what I mean. Things like that. Early on, you may not really be equipped to defend those things, and that person can scare you away. Um, and for those who are young, who are in them streets, you know, in order to be out there, you gotta be a warrior. So you are already a soldier coming out the gate. Why not go ahead and join the army of God, the everlasting army? And you already have the right idea, but you have the wrong product. You're really an entrepreneur and one that has tremendous value. You just happen to be going in the wrong direction. A lot of young people well, really all young people, and some of the older ones have a lot of drive, but they just don't have no direction whatsoever. So they go wherever they think that they should land at. They go wherever they think that the benefit is at. So like the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan said once before, he said, if you can go that hard in the wrong direction, imagine what you can do when you start going in the right direction.
Mhm.
Praise be to Allah.
Yes, sir. Man, I had a very great time with the interview. Just wanted to thank you for your time and coming on your little brother small little platform he's trying to build up. And I just want to say, man, I definitely hope we cross paths in the future. And I definitely look forward to hopefully working with you again and do something with Raising the Dead. But thank you so much, man. Ramadan Mubarak. Salam alaikum. And if there's anything else you want to add, anything you want to plug in, we could just end it on there.
No, sir. I appreciate all the people tuning in, viewing this. My platform, I just give my platforms a shout out. Facebook, Brother Mark Muhammad. Instagram, Mark Muhammad Jr. YouTube, Brother Mark Muhammad Jr. You want to reach me, just hit me up on there. And inshallah, I'll see y'all soon.
Thank you so much, brother. Salam alaikum.
Walaikum salam. Thank you.